Yo everyone, welcome back. This has been a highly requested video on my top picks for each narrative. The 5 narratives that I'm going to mention today, in my opinion, will provide the strongest returns this upcoming cycle. The reason I don't mention some of these coins often is because they've already gone on a run and early investors like myself are up significantly. You guys who have been around and active in my Discord know that I'm an honest guy in a very dishonest space, and I like to try and bring newer, undervalued projects to my community to avoid things like a potential dump or mediocre returns. Having said that, there is still plenty of runway left in these projects today, as we are nowhere near the peak of the bull, so including them isn't a bad shout at all. Remember, these are just my opinions, all are subject to change. Some are not at good buy prices. I don't suggest just aping into all of these, as there could be better risk return out there. Also, feel free to drop what your highest conviction plays are in the comments. Beginning with AI, I don't really think I need to go into this too much. We know how transformative AI is going to be on the world in general, not just in crypto. AI is a sector in crypto with so much crap. I'd actually say it's the sector with the most amount of crap, obviously after memes. Many projects put AI in the ticker or in their name and people come flocking. More time, there's relatively little to no use case in AI, so please, when looking to invest in AI projects, ask yourself, is there actually a use case for AI and what they're trying to do, and how are they trying to use it? I typically encourage people to stick to the larger cap AI projects. Whilst the returns may not be the 100x that some of you are expecting, you are more likely to make money compared to losing it all in some sham project. For this reason, my number one AI pick is bittensor. It's an incredibly complex project, and if you don't believe me, try read their white paper. There are hundreds of articles and videos looking to explain exactly what bittensor is, what it does, how impactful it can be. These are dedicated videos spanning hours long, but for today I'll keep it simple. So when you think bittensor, just think of these 3 words: decentralized AI infrastructure. That's the most simple way I can put it, and you can literally sum it up. But going into it in a little more detail, it's a decentralized network connecting machine learning models around the world. Using a metaphor, think of bittensor as the brain, and each neuron is a different machine learning model, and they all collaborate together, providing information and intelligent responses. The network is comprised of subnets, which are specialized sections within the larger bittensor network, each focusing on specific tasks or functions related to artificial intelligence or computing resources. Think of them as separate units or zones within the bittensor ecosystem, each with its own purpose. For example, you can have a subnet dedicated to chat modeling or data storage or GPU rentals, image rendering. The possibilities are pretty much endless. So originally the network had 32 subnets, but as you can see here, it's been extended to 36, each with its own use case. And it was recently announced that this number will increase to 64, which at first impressions feels bullish, but we'll see how it plays out. So Tau utilizes a proof of stake mechanism, and as such you can stake your tokens, and currently the APY is pretty decent. You get around 17% as a staker. I get asked a lot if it's safe. Now, I have staked my Tau for a very long time and never had any issues. I'd advise doing it through the Tau Stats website. You can delegate, undelegate whenever you want, and the rewards add up daily. Any more questions, jump in my Discord and ask away. The tokenomics of Tau are pretty good as well. When they look to mirror Bitcoin, we can see that there's a total supply of 21 million, and there's a similar halving cycle to BTC as well. Currently, the supply is around 6.8 million, but please keep in mind that by October 2025, around the time of the first halvening, this will increase to around 10.5 million, so probably 50% dilution from here. Just something to keep in mind. So the price of Tau is currently $435, giving it a market cap of 2.9 billion and a fully diluted market cap of 9 billion. However, this isn't going to get reached until like 2070 or something stupid like that. Tau recently got added onto Binance, which is very, very bullish over the long term. We did see a sell-off, but that is some normal short-term price action. A lot of people decide to take profits in these kind of circumstances. But it's on a good amount of exchanges. We've got KuCoin, Gate, Mexi, BitGet. But I'd like to see it get listed on Coinbase, and I can definitely see it happening, as that would open up bittensor to the masses. So in terms of price predictions for bittensor, this is easily a 4-digit coin at the minimum. So $1,000 at my very, very most conservative price prediction, which is about a 2.5x from here. So again, not too bad in return if you're going in heavy, but that's very, very conservative. My initial buy for bittensor came in at around, it was last summer, so I think, yeah, $50 around this time here, June, July. Last summer. I actually found out about Tau when it was around $20, but I didn't understand the project. I didn't spend too much time on it, kind of looked at the white paper and was like, what is this? Left it and later regretted it. And also at that time, it was only over the counter, so it wasn't on any exchanges. You can only buy wrapped Tau OTC, which I didn't really trust too much at that time as well. But yeah, conservatively speaking, it should easily hit $1,000. More bullish sentiment, and what I'd like to think is my gut instinct, is this could get to $2, $3, $4, $5,000 easily this cycle. I've seen predictions ranging between 5 and 10k. 10k is obviously pushing it, as in like that might be a bit unrealistic, but totally not out the question considering this is one of the few projects in crypto with a massive use case, very strong fundamentals, tokenomics, all of it. So I would ideally like to see bittensor fall between the 5 to 10k range this cycle. If not this cycle, definitely pushing on towards the next one. This would give it a market cap ranging anywhere between $30 to $100 billion, which for an leading AI project in crypto is absolutely nothing. And if you doubt me, go take a look at what some of the projects were doing in the last cycle and you'll see exactly what I mean. DePIN, which stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure, in my opinion, is one of the few narratives in crypto which have a strong real-life use case. There was a 2024 DePIN development report at a Web3 festival in Hong Kong last month, which forecasted the market size for DePIN to reach $3.5 trillion by 2028, which is only, 3-4 years away. According to CMC, the current market cap for DePIN is $34 billion, which first of all is very small compared to that $3.5 trillion valuation we saw, but also some of these projects which they've included aren't really DePIN or pure DePIN anyway. Ator Protocol is my pick of the DePIN projects. It's combining privacy with DePIN and is creating a decentralized private network for users to reroute their internet traffic and stay anonymous. Not only that, it will also allow developers to build dApps on their network, creating incredible opportunities across different sectors such as gaming, AI, real-world assets, and more. If you guys have been around, you would have heard of Tor, the onion router, or router, depending on where in the world you're from. But this was the original private internet, often associated with allowing people access to the deep and dark web. Not good connotations there. But the issue with this was that there was no incentive for people to run nodes around the world. It was purely a good Samaritan thing. Tor has been around since the early 2000s, and I believe there are only around 7,000 relays in operation right now. This has obviously caused issues of scalability, slow internet, as when traffic is high, they don't have enough relays up to handle it, things like that. The team at Ator saw this and found a fix: incentivize relay operators by paying them in the Ator token. This way, more people will set up relays, strengthening and scaling the network, and they were absolutely flying at the start. I think they got an additional 2,000 virtual relays registered in a matter of months for Tor. Then the FUD began. Tor didn't like what Ator was doing for whatever reason. There's been so many theories on what this is, but they came out and said that they're not associated with the project, don't condone what they're doing, and naturally people began selling the token. There were also rumors coming out of Tor actually being a centralized authority, which defeats the whole anonymous internet concept anyway. So since then, Ator have began building their own private network separate to Tor and are essentially going to look to take their entire market share and more. The partnerships and collaborations that Ator has are absolutely insane, and it's a lot more than the 4 listed on their website. There was a point on Twitter where if you followed Ator, it felt like they were dropping a new partnership every week, or at least every few weeks. Like, I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can just see here they were just spamming them out like there's no tomorrow. But all of them are incredibly bullish, especially in particular this one, Hotspotty. They hired the team and developers behind Helium, which is another DePIN project, and they drove it to $5 billion in market cap in the last cycle, and they're going to look to replicate and even surpass that this time around. So yeah, very bullish from people who've already been there and done it before. The enormous amount of partnerships that Ator's been getting says to me that other people within this space, be it projects, individuals, developers, see Ator, see the potential that it has, and want to get on board and help out any way that they can. The team also nailed their tokenomics as well. I believe they hired a specialist, and it's 100 million max supply, around 90% in circulation right now, with 10% reserved for rewards or for those who are hosting either physical relays or the virtual ones. So right now, Ator has a price of $2.40, giving it a market cap of $216 million with a fully diluted market cap of $240 million. It's listed on a decent amount of exchanges, a couple tier 2, tier 3s in KuCoin, Mexi, BitGet, but nothing special right now like a Binance, Coinbase, or anything like that. Looking at the all-time price history for Ator, we can see that it launched at a few cents, maybe 2 cents, and was on a steady increase before we hit this massive dip here, which was the FUD as Tor disassociated from the project. And it remained in a sideways action for a long time before people started to realize, hang on, these guys are building their own private network. This is incredibly bullish, started buying up again. And as the mainnet got closer and closer, we see the price begin to reflect that. And it actually reached, I think, $3.50 or $3.70 actually. So yeah, very good returns. My first buy into Ator was around the 10 cents region, really early on. Yeah, I think it was around March, April last year. So I got in at around 10 cents. And I've been mentioning Ator on this channel a few times. I think the lowest I mentioned it at was around 70 cents. And I was saying, if you can get this project for under $1, you're doing absolutely incredible because you're going to get very, very strong returns. I don't think we're going to see under $1 again, maybe under $2. But yeah, I mean, if you took my advice, you'd be sitting at some decent profit right now. So price predictions for ator, it's an interesting one. If we take a look at helium, we see that the price of helium reached $50 in the last cycle at its peak, which gave it a market cap of 5 billion, as I mentioned earlier. And looking at ator right now, we're sitting at 200 million. So 50 billion is about a 20x from here, just over 20x, 25x. Very, very strong return for this coin. My conservative estimate for ator, I can see this hitting $10 easily, around a 4x from here, which would put it at a market cap of $1 billion, which in the peak of a bull cycle, it's absolutely nothing. Realistically, I would like to see ator hit what helium did last time. So $50 for me would be my bullish prediction. And it's not out of the question as the use case, the community, the team, the partnerships, all of that indicate that something very bullish is in the making here. I've seen people make predictions of, upwards of $100 per ator, which, would give it a $10 billion market cap. We just have to play it by ear and see how high Bitcoin goes and subsequently how high the rest of the altcoin market goes this cycle. Next, we have real world assets. This is a narrative which has been getting a lot of buzz recently, and just like DePIN, this is one of the few sectors which I can see having a real life use case. There was a report on digital assets back in May 2021 from the World Economic Forum, which is an interesting organization to say the least. But they predict that this sector can reach a market size of hundreds of trillions of dollars in the future. So yeah, there's a lot of potential with this one. If it is going to reach a market cap of hundreds of trillions, scratch that, even $1 trillion, currently at a market cap of 46 billion in crypto, go figure, there's a lot of potential here. So unlike in artificial intelligence, I actually think that there are multiple good projects in real world assets. I may decide to do a top 3, top 5 or tier list video soon in this sector, but my number one pick for this cycle is Realio Network, or Rio. Realio Network is an interoperable layer 1 ecosystem combining Web3 with real world assets, and it was founded in 2018. There are a function of different services within this crypto project, but Realio Network is the layer 1 allowing the tokenization of assets. It tokenizes assets to their blockchain, removing intermediaries and remaining SEC compliant. And they're looking to build an easy to use platform and interface too, further removing any barriers to entry and creating a transparent system for investors and issuers. Another service they're looking to provide is Realio Fund, which is the DeFi element to their project. This includes services such as, wallets, swaps, as in you can swap assets between tokens, USDT to Rio to Ethereum or whatever, multi-chain trades as well, and a lot more. They also announced something called Districts, which is like a metaverse mirroring Earth, allowing people to own, build, and earn from virtual land. This is still a relatively new concept from the team, so we will have to wait and see how it goes. But, adding all of these different sub-projects within Realio is very, very bullish for the future. The tokenomics for Rio are also excellent. The max supply is 75 million, and it says that the initial circulating supply was 45 million, although I believe that this is inaccurate now, and we are closer to 50 or 55 million in circulation. And judging by their emission schedule, around 20 million tokens will be looking to be entered into the supply over the next 38 years, so a very, very long time. On top of all of this, something that I found interesting was that there are apparently no team tokens, so the team haven't taken an allocation. There was no venture capital tokens either, no VCs. It was completely fair launch, so very, very bullish on all of that. The tokenomics for Rio are also deflationary, and the way in which it works is that when an asset is tokenized to their blockchain, a certain number of Rio tokens are burnt in the process, further reducing the supply. They have a very, very strong following on Twitter as well, almost 100,000 followers. The team is fully doxed. You can see them on LinkedIn. Like I said here, it's founded in 2018, fully doxed team, lots of experience between them. So yeah, in terms of transparency, a lot of it is there. The price today of Rio is $1.70, and ignore the metrics on CoinMarketCap because they're wrong on this project. Actually, I believe if you hold over, yeah, there we go. So the current circulating supply is around 55 million, giving it a market cap of around $93 million. Fully diluted, that's 126 million, so not high at all. Rio is listed on a decent amount of exchanges. We've got OKX, which is a strong exchange, KuCoin, Mexi, HTX, so a number of tier 2, tier 3s, nothing tier 1 as of yet, no Coinbase or Binance, so we're still relatively early on this one. But if we take a look at the all-time price chart for Rio, it was actually around in the previous bull cycle, which ator and Tau, which I mentioned previously, weren't. They were newly launched projects, so that might be a little bit of a hindrance in its price potential. But real world assets wasn't as strong a narrative in the previous cycle, so that could kind of balance it out. But we went on a very, very point of death period for Rio here. Loads of months where the project seemed dead, and it only recently really sparked into life end of last year, start of this year. We saw this explosion up here from, you know, less than $1 to almost touching $3, which is absolutely crazy. I first entered Rio when it was around 2.1, 2.2 cents. It was the end of 2022, early 2023. So yeah, around 2 cents, I believe, was my first entry into Rio, which, you know, not a bad entry considering it crossed the 100x mark for me when it went over $2 a few months back. So yeah, not a bad return. But I first mentioned Rio at the start of 2024 on this channel in January, which I believe was around a price of 60 cents. So yeah, again, if you took my call then, albeit I didn't really have as many subscribers or viewers back then, but you'd be sitting on around a 2-3x. So price predictions for Rio, the minimum I'd like to see this hit is $10. Now $10 would give it a market cap of only 550 million, which, you know, in a bull market for an RWA project, a sector which is tipped to reach, you know, trillions in the future, if this can really cement itself as a top leading project in this narrative, $500 million is absolutely nothing. And because of its tokenomics, you know, how limited they are, and very, very bullish burn mechanisms as well in the future, $10 could be very, very, very conservative. And we can see this getting to, you know, $20, $30, $40, $50. I've seen some people make predictions that this is a multi-billion-dollar project in the future. And if that is the case, you know, we could really be seeing $20, $30, $40, even $50 plus valuations for Rio, which would see it go into, you know, $2 billion, $3, $4, $5 billion in valuation, which, you know, for an RWA project, if it wants to cement itself as a top crypto in this sector, completely doable. The next top narrative for this cycle, in my opinion, is DeFi, which I kind of think is going under the radar a little bit. It has always performed well and will continue to always perform well, as it epitomizes a huge part of cryptocurrency, decentralized finance. So my pick for DeFi in this upcoming cycle is an outlier called Change Finance, and I would describe this as the Web3 hub for all things DeFi. Change offers so much, it's kind of hard to explain each and every feature, but some of the standouts are that they are cross-chain compatible across 55 chains, they give access to dozens of DEXs in one place, and are cited as the most liquid cross-chain aggregator on the market. On top of this, they also offer Web3 browsers and wallets too. So at the end of last year, Change was actually acquired by CodedFi at a value of $47 million and appointed some of the members to its board. I believe one of the advisors on board is a chairman at Silvergate Bank, which is very, very huge, and another board member is a chairman at the Nasdaq listed Crypto Acquisition Corporation. Wow, that was a mouthful. But there's also some members from Coinbase as well, I believe, which have been onboarded. Sticking to the team, the founder of Change Finance is actually the ex-founder of VE Chain, which was a very, very strong project in the last cycle and is a current top 100 crypto right now. So I'm extremely bullish on his team and his vision for the future as well. So there was some FUD with this project a few months back as they inflated the supply by a multiplier of I think 2 or 3x. So a pretty big increase of 100-200%. But the CEO said that the reason for this in this Telegram was to make it more accessible for centralized exchanges in the future. He has plans to see this amongst all the tier 1 exchanges, so Binance, Coinbase, all of that good stuff. But in order to do so, those exchanges need a significant allocation of the token itself. And I believe in order to do this, they thought that the best method was to inflate the supply, which, you know, as a holder wasn't the best news. And I remember reading and thinking, this really isn't great. I was kind of questioning my investment. But, you know, over the long term, he's proposed to introduce an 80% revenue or profit sharing mechanism to the holders. There's also going to be AI integration, Twitter payments as well, and buybacks and burns every quarter. So, I mean, we're just going to have to play by ear and see how it goes, but they rectified that FUD pretty well, in my opinion. So there was also a rumor, which I haven't been able to credify myself, but I've seen it from multiple sources, that venture capitals were investing into Change Finance at a price of 26 cents. And we're about to look at the price now, and you'll see what kind of discount you're getting to the VCs. So the price today of Change is just over 11 cents, giving it a market cap of $55 million and a fully diluted market cap of $140 million. So right now in circulation, we've got about 474 million tokens. And I believe that the previous allocation of tokens, the max supply, was around 600 million, of which they've doubled to 1.2 billion, causing the FUD. But yeah, I mentioned that the VCs got in at a price of 26 cents. Right now, we're at more than a 50% discount to what the VCs will get in, if that rumor is true. So, you know, just some food for thought there. But it's listed on a few exchanges. It's on Mexi, BitGet, not really that many. And obviously, you can buy it through their own platform, Change Finance. So, yeah, looking to hopefully include a lot more exchanges in the future, opening up to a lot more investors. The price history for Change Finance is interesting because we aren't really too far off of its lows. It was around in the previous cycle, didn't really get to a strong price in that one, and went on a little period of death again where people probably forgot about the project, going down to about 3 or 4 cents before having a mini resurgence, and as of recently, only a few months back, reached over 25, 26 cents, which I'm guessing here was where the VCs apparently bought at. And before seeing a massive sell-off, and currently, down about 50-60% from its recent all-time high. So before we get onto my price prediction for Exchange, I want to point out what some similar DeFi projects did in the last cycle. So if we look at Uniswap, which is probably the market leader, we can see that in the peak of the bull last cycle, it got up to $22 billion worth in valuation, which is absolutely stupid. But PancakeSwap as well, which is a top DEX too, reached about $6 billion in valuation. So we can see that the demand for DeFi is obviously there. These DEXs reached multiple billions of dollars in valuation, even going up to 20 plus billion. So we look at Change today, it's at a market cap of $55 million, drop in the ocean, compared to the other two projects. So for it to reach, let's say, Uniswap's peak in the last cycle, that'd be a 400x. For it to reach, PancakeSwap's peak in the last cycle, that'd be an 100x from now. But in my realistic opinion, given what we've seen about it, the team, the venture capitals that are involved, the acquisition from Coded Fire, we've got the ex-founder, sorry, I can't even get my words out now, guys. The ex-founder of VE Chain involved. This has to reach a few dollars, in my opinion. So if we say $5 from this current point, that would give it a market cap of around $2.5 billion, which, for a Web3 DeFi hub, I can fully see that achievable and attainable. And it's one of the few projects, I think it's the only project I'm going to be mentioning in today's video that hasn't really gone on a price discovery as of yet. We looked like we were about to do it here, but then obviously had a massive sell-off. But, if the narrative comes back around and we get into a really, really bullish sentiment later on this year, going into 2025, a few dollars, $5 to $10 for Change Finance is very, very achievable in my opinion. I've left gaming last as it's the sector where I don't really have a highest conviction play. Like AI, there are a lot of projects in this sector and it's about filtering the crap. You're probably better off, in my opinion, going for a gaming platform or ecosystem as opposed to an individual game, as it hedges your risk a little bit more. I have no doubt that gaming is going to be a top narrative both this cycle and in the future, but I'm just struggling a little bit to pick a clear-cut winner. I've gone with Creo or Creo Engine, which I've mentioned a few times on this channel already, and whilst I don't have a highest conviction play in this sector, I believe that Creo provides the best risk-return ratio out of any of the gaming projects that I've seen, and can hence provide us with the strongest returns from this current point. So Creo is an interoperable gaming experience for Web3, looking to be like a gaming hub. It's got individual games, play to earn, NFTs, other media such as music, and also potential future Web3 tournaments and esports as well. Creo is an Indonesian project, and again, this is something I say quite a lot on this channel, but the Asians do not mess around when it comes to gaming. I believe that when it comes to gaming, this region of the world, East Asia, Southeast Asia, is going to be leading, so you can't really go wrong for investing in this region. But yeah, they've got loads and loads of partners, loads and loads of backers as well as individual game partners too. I'm not going to go through all of them, but one that they don't have listed on their website, and it's a project I mentioned earlier, they're actually partnered with Ator protocol. So yeah, always nice to see, two projects that you're fond of collaborating. So Creo are currently boasting thousands of users already. We can see that on their Creo Play platform, which is kind of like their Steam equivalent, there's a total user count of 8,000 accounts. And on top of this, one of their individual games, Evermore Nights, has achieved nearly 250,000 downloads on the Google Play Store, which when you start seeing numbers like this, it's very, very bullish. They have a docs team, which is very strong in terms of its experience and know-how in the gaming industry. And I couldn't find the article, but I believe the team and the project itself has won multiple awards in Indonesia for up-and-coming Web3 gaming platforms for the future. So again, very, very bullish on that. The tokenomics for Creo were initially 1 billion, which is kind of average for gaming. It's not great, but it's not the worst. However, they've revamped this lately, and they've decided to lock a significant amount for the team, which for me is very bullish, as it shows they really care and believe in the project and aren't going anywhere. On top of this, there are also liquidity and ecosystem locks too, amounting to around 330 million. Then we can see down here, they've also burned over 200 million in tokens, so a 20% reduction in the supply. And yeah, I mean, all of this is very, very bullish news, because 1 billion, like I said, it's not the worst, but obviously the less tokens for a gaming project is probably the better. They also go on to say that they plan to reduce their total token supply to 600 million in the future. So yeah, very nice news there. Creo have got a very, very strong social media presence as well, over 100,000 followers on Twitter. and their tweets actually get a lot of interaction, so it's a very active community. Thousands in the Discords and in the Telegrams as well. So yeah, very, very strong community, which is very important for crypto projects in general, but I believe gaming in particular. So the price today of Creo is 8.5 cents, giving it a market cap of only $24 million and a fully diluted market cap of 67 million, although a significant portion of this is locked up. Just like most of the projects I mentioned today, they're on a decent amount of tier 2 and tier 3 exchanges like Gate, Mexi, BitGet, but nothing too, Binance-y or Coinbase-y just yet. So relatively early on Creo as well. So looking at the all-time price chart for Creo, the best time to buy would have been this massive period where it was literally chilling under a cent. I mean, if you were invested in this project at this point, hats off to you. But it spiked up here because I believe influencers were mentioning it and the project was obviously getting out there. More and more people are finding out and buying it. But it's down about 50-60% from its recent all-time high of 20 cents. So yeah, in terms of buying price now, it's a very good price to enter. But in terms of price prediction, so right now, 8.5 cents, market cap of $25 million. Can it 10x, get to 80 cents, get to a market cap of $250 million? Absolutely. I still remember in the last cycle, there were so many projects valued in the hundreds of millions of market cap, which did nothing. They honestly did nothing. Everything was pumping in a matter of weeks just because people were finding out about it. So if you got a game with an actual use case, user base, all of that, a few $100 million in market cap is absolutely nothing. But can it get to, 100x from here, get to $8.50, get to multi-billion dollars in valuation? That's where I believe Creo might struggle, because I can't really see many gaming projects doing that anyway. I think it'll be a very, very select few. So for me, 100x is off the cards, but can it get to $1? Let's say, let's keep it around. Can it get to $1? Absolutely. So yeah, between a 10-15x from this position, I can 100% see Creo doing. But yeah, guys, this is the video wrapped up on my highest conviction picks for the narratives that I believe will run the hardest. Remember, this is all a matter of opinion. You may agree with me, you may disagree with me. Just try not to attack me. This is all subject to change, and there'll be projects coming out in the future which I have my eyes on, so we'll see how that goes. Subscribe and join my Discord to stay notified on that. Please leave a like and comment what your highest conviction picks are, as it will be nice to see them. And aside from that, take care, guys, and I'll catch you all in the next one.